Hi, I'm Dr. Leon Stucki. If you've ever wished for more insight or deeper access into your business, we can help you envision your world as never before. Envision VIP is a new game changer. It offers unlimited new visualization and information portals into any business. Here we can see a collection of projects. The look and feel of each of the projects is highly customizable. Clicking on them will bring up a high-level view of the enterprise, and we can examine different perspectives. We can drill down to a business perspective. We can look at strategic plans, what the motivating factors are, the key performance indicators might be. We can examine who the stakeholders are and details about them. We can look into the anatomy of the business, and we can look at the marketplace, the suppliers, the customers, the governing interests and providers of technology, the organizations. Any aspect of the business can be managed. We can provide a high-level context supporting business views, information views, technology views, and various solutions. From this business viewpoint, we can examine the effect of several different scenarios on our business capabilities. For instance, scenario 1, we can look at what the current capabilities are, and we can easily see the effects of new proposed capabilities to be added. This shows the power of the layer capability within our subviews. We can bring up reports directly from this management dashboard. We can look at where our resources are found. We can drill down and see what the local organization looks like, what the IT resources are like, and get any necessary reports. We can go into the IT perspective. We can get a data level view of the information. We can get system level views of the information. We can, for given systems, we can go in and see how they interact with one another and what resources flow between the various systems. The relationships themselves are actually objects in Envision, and they can have properties. So we can see the staging of the flow of information between various processes. Again, from our CEO synopsis view, we can go in, and if we want to look at the big picture, we can see the context diagram for a given project or activity. This is similar to what you'd see in PowerPoint. If people have questions about this, we can actually link to real information. So if they ask us about customers, we can click on customer. We can bring up a spreadsheet that talks about customers. Here we're linking to an Excel spreadsheet. We can link to tables of information in the repository just as quickly. We can sort them by location and bring up details for any given item on the row directly from the repository. Let's say we're interested in seeing what happens to new customer orders. It would be nice if we could follow new customer order into sales and into receive customer order. At this point here in receive customer order, we can bring up details about this process, its budget, and descriptions which include references to the inputs and outputs. And in fact, these are actual links into the repository to share the information, so we can basically explore to any level we wish. Now at this point, we've noticed that new customer order appears a number of different places. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just say show where used and have it come up with a complete list of all the diagrams and textual references that refer to customer order? Notice that we also know when this particular diagram was last modified and who last made a change to it. If we'd like to see the diagram more directly, we can simply double click on it and look at the details. This is a data model, and we have quite a bit of information underneath this that we can look at if we choose. So we can see this new customer order appears many different places. Now, what if we wanted to rename new customer order to the more generic form customer order? We can see now customer order is going into sales, customer order is going into receive customer order. And if you recall, this documentation for receive customer order had a reference to new customer order. These references have now all been updated to customer order. It's renamed on all the diagrams, all textual references throughout the system. What else can we do? It would be nice if we had a find button, which would allow us to search for any terminology which we might want to further analyze. So if we wanted to examine all the touch points for regulations in our business, we could simply type in the substring regula, click on the find button, and Envision would then quickly show us all of the touch points, the regulations, and the regulators in our system. And we can see all of the references in the text to various regulations. At this point, we can click on any one of these items and we can in turn go see where they're used. In fact, the where used and the find subpanel panes have no limits. We can actually maintain multiple where used windows and find windows and toggle back and forth for quick analysis. Note, these rename, find, and even replace capabilities across the entire repository far exceed any other solutions available today. Another topic of great interest is to share information in the form of polished documentation and fully operational websites. Here is an example of a website automatically generated by Envision. Note, no coding, scripting, or intervention of any kind was required on the part of the user. As you can see, this is a fully functional website allowing us to see the same information that we saw before. Here you can see the web even has very powerful search capabilities of its own. Here we're looking at the same search for regulations, and we can see the diagram references and immediately jump to them on the web, just as in Envision. In addition to the very powerful web publishing capabilities we've just shown you, Envision also has an extremely powerful document formatting capability. This capability is a tool that's totally customizable and allows us to generate high-quality polished documentation. Here we have an example of a fully formatted document for Word. Notice it has a customized cover page, it has a table of contents, and it has pages with headers and footers and intermixed text graphics. In actuality, we have only shown you a few of the highlights of the true power of Envision. In addition to the customized views, high security, and group collaborative support, there's actually much more under the covers. Take, for instance, Envision's event attributes. When I double click on this process, I notice there's 4 processes with different colors associated with them. The colors for the objects on this diagram are controlled by an object paint event. This event specifies the colors to be used for displaying an object based on the risk factor associated with it. A different type of event attribute is defined for check-in. At this point, we want to send an email. The email that is sent is governed by the template file here. You can designate which stakeholders are advised of the changes and convey exactly which attributes you might want to send in the email. In addition to the emails, there are other event capabilities that can cause reports to be generated or other actions. Envision does not simply store pictures and text. Instead, it is managing well-defined business objects, classes, and attributes. All views fully leverage your vital information and guarantee its currency and consistency. Envision truly facilitates intuitive involvement and interaction with your business intelligence. Envision is the first system to truly deliver on the promise of information at your fingertips.